Coach, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, last year when you guys came here, you saw your mom thinking at the hotel.
Hmm.
Like it was the only chance you got. Have you got a better situation this time?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw my mom yesterday, went out to eat, and got to catch up, family rundown, and hear about everybody, what they're doing, and a bunch of people are coming tonight, which is really fun because I don't get to see everybody. Still have restrictions, so it's still a bit tougher, but a lot of people are coming tonight to watch us play. And but I did get to see my mom yesterday, and just pretty cool when you can just sit and listen, get the rundown on everybody's what they're doing and what she's doing. And it's always cool to come back here. It's where I grew up. And so many memories just being back here in DC and PG County.
Does it, coaching in a game like this with so much family here, does that make it how do you approach it? I mean, because I'm just curious from your perspective, like players do it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but then to be home and then coaching, does that make the game, how does that make the game for you?
It's not the same as playing. Like when you're playing, you you want to play well in front of your family. As a coach, I want to coach well for my team. That's it. And so much is out of your control when you're a coach. And so the only thing I can do is control what I can as far as preparation and trying to make the right decisions. I'm not coaching well for my family because they don't even know what I'm doing if it is deemed well. They're just happy to see you after the game, and Lord willing, you have a win and that kind of thing. So it's different. I want to do well for the staff and for the players as best I can.
Well, interesting. You mentioned before about how playing, DeAndre, JaVale, and Bianca.
Yeah.
Trying to figure, that three big look, not something that you're like, I don't know how to utilize that. Or is that something you take it even more thought into, or how do you?
It's just hard to do it with the minutes that are allotted, especially today's bigs. There's just one. Back in the day, it was 96 minutes for two bigs in the starting lineup. Now it's just 48 because of the way we play. So trying to play three when one of them is used to playing 32 plus, that's hard. But because of the character of those three guys, we could do it, and they're always fine with it, but I don't think that's right for the team, and one of them has to sacrifice, and so far it's been Biz, and he's been great, and JaVale he's great when he sits. I think we went small against San Antonio, and he was all for it. So we're going to go with two, unless foul trouble takes place, and then we have to go three. But they all have contributed to our success this year, and we're just grateful to have them all.
Looking at Washington, obviously no field, but just be Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing?
Playing faster. I thought they, obviously they made plays down the stretch, but they started the game getting some easy buckets in transition. Philly didn't do a good job getting back in transition. They got a few layups to start the game and gave them some confidence and pace on the road. Ball movement is something that we all try to do, but their body movement is different now because they rely on a few guys who score in double figures to increase their output. And, they have guys that can play. I mean, Kuzma was with the Lakers, so he has a pedigree for winning. KCP, champion. Those guys are guys that you have to respect their experience. Montrez is a load. His energy, his post moves, his paint play, and we just coming off a loss like we just came off of, giving up 3 30-point quarters, 23s. We're chomping at the bit to get back on the floor, and but we do have a great deal of respect for Washington and what they did the other day.
Talking with Coach Unseld just now, he was saying how him starting this path and then you reaching out to him, you give him advice, and he's like, well, Randy Harris probably helped him. So now they're both helping me. How important is that to have that continuation that help guys once they
Yeah, I think you share from your mistakes. I don't think you ever go into a conversation with a new coach and say, do this, do this, do. Nobody did that to me. I think my way is sharing from mistakes and decisions that I wish I could redo. And then you try to relate that to a coach. I mean, these guys get these positions for a reason because they have the acumen, they have the character and integrity, and an organization thinks that they can lead and they pay their dues. So I don't want to cloud their mind with 10 things to do. I just try to tell them like, hey man, I did this. You might want to stay away from that. And I've known Wes for a while. I mean, I grew up here in DC. I knew his dad before I knew him. His dad and John Thompson and Patrick Ewing, they were like the Supreme Court to me growing up. You know what I'm saying? So just his name alone brings back great memories for me, but to see him here coaching in his dad's shadow is really cool. And, you want to see a guy like that do well, except tonight.
Last thing I have was, you mentioned defensively, 34
Yeah.
and just, was it just a matter of, specifically with Aiden, I'm just curious, he's trying to get back, but obviously he was out for so long.
Sure.
It's a struggle in a way. So what are you expecting of him as far as?
I think he's gonna, knock the rust off here and start to play the kind of basketball that he's accustomed to and to his standard. He hasn't played poorly, just hadn't played. And I've gone small and done some things that have limited his minutes, but we tried to be smart. At this point, we're going to start playing him his normal minutes so he can get back into a groove. But defensively, it was a lot of off the dribble threes that you can't do much about. And then we've talked about as a team, as a staff, like things we can control, off ball switching situations. We didn't do a great job in that concept, and the ability to, get the stop so we can get out in transition. Like that's who we are. That's why we're a top 5 defense. We didn't show that the other day, and Atlanta did a really good job. They knocked down shots. You watched them play against Toronto last night. It was a totally different team. And, but I think it was good for us because today's shoot around was about the basics, hitting the principles of our defense, keeping our bigs back a bit more and pick and roll coverages and communicating and switching with a purpose.
We'll finish with Gerald Bourget on Zoom.
Hey, Coach, you guys have been really effective at executing in crunch time situations. Got the best record and best net rating in those situations. The Nets, despite their record saying that they're sub 500, they're also very good in those situations. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on, if you've seen anything from them as far as their ability to execute down the stretch and what makes them effective.
Well, I mean, I think if you're referring to the Brooklyn Nets, I think you would have to say, and I think Steve and I would agree, that it's not coaching. We have a number of guys who can get their own shot down the stretch. Chris and Book, and the Nets have 3 Hall of Fame players in on their team that do the same. I think for me, we just try to space the floor properly and execute away from Chris and Book so they have space, and we have willing playmakers away from Chris and Book, Mikal and Jay and Cam and Campaign when he's out there. And then we have bigs that, create a lot of offense with their ability to score in the paint. So we try our best to put our guys in situations where they can have space and see the floor clearly. But ultimately, it comes down to having really good players who aren't afraid to take shots, know they can make shots, and have been in those situations before.
Sorry, Coach. I think I cut out, but I was asking about the Wizards and their ability to execute.
Oh, gosh, I thought you were talking about the Nets. Did you hear Nets? Oh, okay. I thought he did too. I mean, they have veterans on their team. They don't have many young guys out there on the floor. That makes a big difference. When you look at who they have on the floor down the stretch, it's usually 4 out of 5 of those guys are vets. Kispert's a guy that's starting to get some playing time, and they typically don't have 2 of those guys on the floor at the same time down the stretch. I think when you have veteran guys who've been there before, that allows for you to have better execution because those guys know the play you're trying to run, but they also understand that a good team is going to take away the first option, and they know how to get to the second and third option. So I think that helps. Sorry about that. Thank you.
That's-
Yep.